Snow will continue to build through the region, especially to the south and east as we head through the rest of your evening and into the night as well. And the wind is going to pick up too. Overnight low temperatures will fall into the single digits, even around zero in portions of central and northeastern KELOLAND. Low teens elsewhere. A little more blowing snow on the way for Tuesday, a little more snow on Wednesday. And then we watch the thermometer by the weekend. A lot to unpack for wintry weather. We'll go through the details coming up, but until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group. KELOLAND News, First at 4.
The first major storm of the season dumped several inches of snow in southeast KELOLAND. We'll check in with Sioux Falls street crews coming up.
Plus, an Iowa Boy Scout is on a mission to comfort students involved in last week's school shooting.
And a celebration quickly diminished. Why the first U.S. moon landing in more than 50 years is now in jeopardy. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Tom Hansen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. The snow hit hard and fast in Sioux Falls with over a half foot piled up by mid-morning.
Yeah, the city had the plows clearing emergency routes shortly after midnight, but the lead mechanic says that process starts long before the snow ever flies.
We definitely go through everything, fine-tooth comb, make sure everything works, and then they're out there doing their job, and then it's just routine maintenance after that. When they're in here, we look them over really good, we make sure they're PM'd really good, and we kick them out the door, and everything seems to work just fine.
We'll tell you about the common issues they run into with that equipment and take you to the new Snow Command Center tonight on KELOLAND News.
City Emergency Manager Regan Smith says the first major snow is always a shock and encourages people to stay off the roads if they can.
I anticipate, it's going to inconvenience people. We really encourage people to stay at home if they don't have any go anywhere. We're seeing a lot of vehicles getting stuck right now. So, if you don't have to go, wait a day and then you can dig yourself out.
Smith says the first snow is also a test for all the preparation done by the city.
Well, roads are either snowy or scattered with slippery spots across most of South Dakota. Take a look at this 511 map. A lot of purple there in the southeast. Drivers will want to keep an eye on the road conditions and watch for drifting as those winds pick up tonight. And Adam was alluding to those winds earlier.
Stay home and curl up where it's cozy if you can.
Good advice, Adam.
Yeah, if it's not one thing, it's another with this system. We started off with the moderate to heavy snow to kick off the day, a few lulls now and again. We'll get one more round later this evening into the night. Then as that tapers off, we get the wind to come in. So we're going to have that wind chill factor, not to mention blowing and drifting snow. So we're not quite done with this yet. Here's a view from our camera downtown. There's 14th Street, and credit to the road crews. 14th Street is looking pretty good right now. Still, you will want to take it easy on those roadways out there. 25, a northeasterly wind at 15 miles per hour. So yeah, that is putting a wind chill factor out there, making it feel like we're in the low teens instead. It's going to feel mild compared to what we have coming up as we head toward the weekend. Meanwhile, out west, it has been a different story. How about this? Sunshine in 23 in Rapid City, although it is rather windy out there. North wind at 25 miles per hour. Just a tale of two halves here, East River versus West River. Here are some snow totals as of 4 p.m. Central Time. Harrisburg still leading at 9.1 inches of snow, but hot on their heels, Monroe, Yankton, and the National Weather Service office at the airport in Sioux Falls, all at 9 inches apiece. Rowena at 8.1, Rock Valley at 7, 6.5 for Slayton, Tyndall 5.8, Garrettson at 5 inches, along with Colton and Larchwood, and even Spearfish and Brookings getting in at 4 inches apiece. And we will be adding to these numbers as we go through the evening and into the night. Not by much, around 2 to 3 inches or so in many locations, but it's still on top of what we've already had. It's still saying something. We are in the 20s and a couple of teens up from Valentine up into Mobridge, with that wind starting to pick up more and more as we head through the evening. You can see now 10 to 20 miles per hour, predominantly out of the north on both sides of the river. So that is going to play a factor in more ways than one. The snow tapers off. That's the good news. But the bad news is that we're going to be left with a cold and windy day in southeastern and northeastern KELOLAND with blowing snow concerns in place. So you will want to keep that in mind if you absolutely must be out and about anywhere. Out to the west, we are warmer though. Highs for your day on Tuesday in the 30s out toward Rapid City and Hot Springs. A lot of cold though on the way by the weekend, and dangerously cold weather as well. We'll talk about that and go through your full forecast as we head through the hour.
Thanks, Adam. Well, KELOLAND isn't the only place getting a taste of winter weather. People on the West Coast got snow over the weekend, with more on the way for the Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, a winter storm blanketed the East Coast, leaving roads, yards, and vehicles covered in snow on Sunday. Several towns in Massachusetts recorded 12 inches of snow.
The Minnesota Attorney General is suing a large dairy farm. The civil lawsuit alleges Evergreen Acres has failed to pay its workers at least $3 million in wages. The lawsuit alleges that dairy illegally charged rent for substandard housing and maintained a culture of fear and violence to discourage reporting. Well, just days after the Perry school shooting that killed an 11-year-old and wounded 7 others, one community group is using stuffed animals to make a difference. The Boy Scout Troop 127 is hosting a teddy bear drive for elementary school students in the town. Ethan Humble introduces us to the scout behind the mission.
A teddy bear may just seem like a childhood toy, but after the tragedies of Thursday in Perry, one local Boy Scout troop is using them to make a difference. 5th grader Kira Schneider was going to school as she normally would Thursday morning. That was until she got a call from her best friend at the high school.
And she was running so I could barely understand her. And she was just trying to tell me about what was happening.
She ended up learning it was the shooting that killed 11-year-old Amir Joliffe and left at least 7 others injured. Schneider's dad, Scott, says he made some calls as fast as he could.
Instantly, I call my son, who is in the high school, and then once I find out he is safe, I get a hold of my daughter.
And thankfully, both were okay. But with both involved in Perry's local Boy Scout Troop 127, the Schneiders thought of those who weren't okay. They gathered the group and thought of a gift they could give to help comfort the children closest to the tragedy.
Can we do a stuffed animal drive? Absolutely, that's what Scouts do, we help out.
And they got to work. The troop has been gathering teddy bears and receiving payment for more on Schneider's Venmo.
We were hoping to get enough stuffed animals for one class, the class of the teacher that her dad is the principal.
Now, with an outpour of community outreach, the goal has grown to getting stuffed animals for every kid in the elementary school. The Schneiders dropped off the bears at the Perry Public Library Saturday to support those seeking out the library's free counseling services. Kira says it's just what Scouts do.
We've always tried to do whatever we can for the community.